Joe King comes out on stage and says, "Hello, yes, my name's Joe King. I'm not joking, though I do prefer to be called Juris Dr. King. Now, I'm not the most politically correct alter ego around. I remember when lesbians were referred to as an embankment built to prevent flooding from the sea. But I'm trying to get better and become less offensive to underprivileged groups. If I'm trying to become more woke, then I suppose it's time for me to open my eyes and wake up a bit, okay? To that end, I'm going to delve into some subjects that have come up recently in the area of wokeness. First, Harry Styles, which women apparently prefer to bald ones, recently came under fire from Billy Porter, who I wasn't familiar with before I heard this story, but apparently Billy is a gay actor, and I hope it's okay to say he's fabulous. He's known for his fashion, and he's been known to wear female clothing. Anyway, Harry Styles wore a dress on the cover of Vogue 3 years ago, and Billy just recently had this to say about it. He said Harry got to be the first solo male to appear on the cover of Vogue because he's white and straight. It doesn't feel good to me. You're using my community, or your people are using my community to elevate you. You haven't had to sacrifice anything, he said, explaining his feelings for Styles' fashion sense. So a black male is mad at a white male for appropriating the idea of males wearing dresses on Vogue covers. Now the reactionary side of me wants to say, are you fucking crazy? A man talking about appropriation from another man wearing what's always been female clothing? But what I've come to learn from this story is that it, quote, is about the systems of oppression and erasure of people of color who contribute to the culture. So I get to join in now with Billy as I become more woke and say, do better, Vogue. If you're going to put a man on your cover in a dress, make it a gay person of color and not a straight white male. God almighty, I feel more woke already. Get breakfast ready, bitches, because this alter ego is all woke up. Woo! Anyway, another story that's popped up has been that Queen's song Fat Bottom Girls was removed from Queen's Greatest Hits soundtrack on the audio platform Yoto. Now, the old reactionary side of me was ready to criticize this decision, thinking it to be wokeness gone overboard, trying to save the feelings of girls with fat bottoms from any perceived criticism or fat shaming. But Yoto is a platform aimed at a children's audience, so this is much to do about nothing as far as wokeness is concerned. The removal of the song was less about removing lyrics that fat shame women's careers and more about protecting children from provocative lyrics. You can't have it both ways, you non-wokies, sleepers, if you will. If you don't want a guy in drag shaking his man meat in a dress in front of children, then you also shouldn't want children hearing lyrics such as, left alone with a big fat fanny, she was such a naughty nanny, and fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round. Okay, because such lyrics can be interpreted as being sexually provocative in nature. So again, my burgeoning wokeness allowed me to see that this isn't wokeness gone mad, but instead just a way to protect children from provocative lyrics. I'm starting to feel woke as fuck. Okay, and finally, we have the Bradley Cooper situation, where he's playing Jewish composer Leonard Bernstein in an upcoming biopic and has been wearing a prosthetic nose. Now, some have called this Bradley wearing, quote, Jew face, akin to white people wearing blackface. Now, the reactionary part of me wants to scream, are you fucking kidding me? When I was 10 years old, I went as Dennis Rodman for Halloween and wore blackface. What's the big deal? But as I become more woke, and not to mention that this program is unapologetically pro-Semitic, I've decided to defer to the great and wonderful Jewish people on this issue. And the Jewish Anti-Defamation League came out and said that Bradley wearing a prosthetic nose was not anti-Semitic. They said specifically that throughout history, Jews were often portrayed in anti-Semitic films and propaganda as evil caricatures with large hooked noses. This film, which is a biopic on the legendary conductor Leonard Bernstein, is not that. So it's fine by them, it's fine by me, despite my wokeness. Okay, so it's very tough to navigate the ever-changing changing landscape and stay woke despite these issues. But I'm confident I will remain vigilant, not succumb to my old ways, and stay as woke as a gay man wearing a dress. I just don't want cancel culture to come at me. But at least so far, they don't seem to have a hard-on for bringing up dead people all the time. So far I'm okay. But I'll try to continue to be woke just in case some dyke sometime comes after me.
Joe King walks off stage and onto another stage, sits at a seat behind a desk and says,
"Please welcome to the program longtime host of The Price is Right, Bob Barker."
Bob Barker emerges from behind the curtain and waves at the audience. Applause, applause, applause. Barker walks over and takes a seat next to King's desk.
King, thanks for being on the show, Bob.
Barker, thank you for having me.
King, now you spent most of your childhood on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in Mission, South Dakota, is that right?
Barker, that's right. My father was a quarter Sioux, making me 1/8 Sioux. I've always bragged about being part Indian because they are a people to be proud of. And the Sioux were the greatest warriors of them all.
King, very good. And you met your future wife in high school?
Barker, that's right. I met Dorothy Joe at an Ella Fitzgerald concert while I was attending high school in Missouri. We started dating when I was 15.
King, okay, and you attended Drury University in Missouri?
Barker, I went there. It was called Drury College at the time, on a basketball scholarship, and I was a member of the Epsilon Beta chapter of the Sigma Nu fraternity while I was there.
King, very good. Now,
Barker, I thought this show was supposed to be funny. You're asking me all these straight questions.
King, well, Bob, in addition to trying to be funny, here on the Joe King Show, we do like to go over the lives of those who've gone before us. Is that okay? Is the price sufficiently right for that?
Barker, I guess it'll have to be. I'm already here.
King, okay, well, you joined the Navy in World War II?
Barker, I joined the Navy Reserves in 43, trained to be a fighter pilot, but I didn't see any active duty. In 45, while on leave from the military, I married Dorothy Joe, and after the war, I returned to Drury to finish my education, graduating summa cum laude with a degree in economics.
King, very good. Now, initially after college, you got into broadcasting.
Barker, well, I worked my first media job while still in college at KTTS-FM radio in Springfield, Missouri. And after college, Dorothy Joe and I moved to Lake Worth Beach, Florida, where I was a news editor and announcer at WWPG 1340 AM in Palm Beach. In 1950, we moved to California to advance my broadcasting career, and I was given my own radio show, The Bob Barker Show.
King, look at that. Not unlike me having my own show, The Joe King Show.
Barker, yeah, but I hate to say I never interviewed any deceased guests.
King, you more went the Howard Stern route, huh?
Barker, that's right.
King, anyway, from there, you were offered to host the television game show Truth or Consequences.
Barker, that's right. From 1956 to 1975, I hosted Truth or Consequences. TV was, of course, exploding in popularity at the time. Have you thought of moving to TV?
King, well, much of my show is targeted at getting SNL's attention.
Barker rolls his eyes and says, good luck with that.
King, thank you. Now, what was Truth or Consequences anyway?
Barker, basically, we had off-the-wall questions that no one would be able to answer, so that when the contestant couldn't answer it, they had to do a zany or embarrassing stunt.
King, so it was basically you just fucking with your contestants.
Barker, pretty much, yeah.
King, now after your 21-year stint there, you joined the show you became synonymous with, The Price is Right.
Barker, I actually started Price is Right in 72, so for the first 3 years I was doing both shows.
King, now what did you do in 1987 that was groundbreaking?
Barker, unlike other television hosts, I renounced hair dye and began wearing my hair gray.
King, a regular silver fox, huh?
Barker, At least I still had hair, unlike you.
King, moving on. You ended up hosting that show for 35 years.
Barker, that's right. I absolutely loved it. I left when I was 83 because I wanted to retire young. But I enjoyed my time on the show immensely. I could have probably gone on a few more years, but it was getting to be a lot for me to do physically, and I wanted to retire a year too early rather than a year too late.
King, very good. Now, before we go, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up your hilarious cameo in the movie Happy Gilmore.
Barker, oh, come on.
King, what?
Barker, I was known for my animal rights activism, and you want to skip that and ask me about a movie?
King, okay, fine. So you ended the Price is Right show every time by saying, "This is Bob Barker reminding you to help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered. Congratulations."
Barker, you know, I don't know how you ever got a talk show anyway. You don't know what you're doing. King gets up, walks around to the front of his desk, stands in front of Barker and says,
"Don't push me, Bob."
Barker stands up and says, "You suck. There's no way you are a worse attorney than you are a talk show host. You should just stick to the law."
King, all right, let's go.
King punches Barker in the face, who falls to the ground. King,
"You like that, old man? You want a piece of me?"
As Barker gets back up, he says, "I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing." Barker punches King in the stomach with his right hand, punches him again in the face with his right, and then punches King 8 times in the face with his left hand, before punching him in the face again with his right, sending King falling onto his desk. King rolls off the desk, approaches Barker, and says,
"Now you're going to get it, Bobby."
Barker blocks King's attempted right hook, throws a left and a right hook of his own, and throws King to the ground. King gets up and tackles Barker as they both roll around on the ground. King gets on top of Barker, headbutts him, and says,
"The price is wrong, bitch."
Barker then grabs King by the neck with his left hand, stands them both up, and proceeds to pummel King in the stomach with his right hand before knocking King down with a right hook to the face. Barker, I think you've had enough. As King tries to get up, Barker says, "No?" Barker kicks King in the face and sends him back down to the ground. Barker, "Now you've had enough, bitch." King from the ground says,
That's all the time we have for this show. But tune into the next one where we interview another deceased guest. Until then, I'm Joe King, and I'm not joking.